here. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. For today's video, we have my weekly budget check-in. I'm going to take all of my expenses for the week, which I filled out this expense tracker with you guys in a previous video. So make sure that you check that out if you missed it and you want to hear details of where all of our money went this past week. I'm going to take the information from my expense tracker and plug it into my hybrid budget today and get a feel for how we are doing for the month overall. I can tell you we're not doing so well in the budget or emotionally, honestly. I lost my baby sister this past week. She was 34 years old. She leaves behind 2 children, and we're just kind of struggling with that, obviously. So we weren't super focused on sticking to the budget, if I'm being honest, and kind of in a place where I just don't care. Like, if we incur more debt, I don't care. If we don't, stick to our budget, I don't care. Kind of living that life's too short, YOLO. Let's just do the things we want to do because we may not have time to do them later type of an attitude. So probably not the best in terms of like motivating you guys to stick to your budget, but that's life. And it is what it is. And that's where we've been at. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to lie to you guys and tell you I'm okay, because I'm not. But hopefully, we can just kind of get this information put into our budget and move on and hopefully be better next week. We'll see. So the first thing I need to do then is, well, I'll tell you guys, you're looking at my monthly budget. This is my hybrid budget worksheet. It's a 2-page spread that I use to completely track absolutely every aspect of my budget for the most part. There's a place here for monthly expenses. There's a place here for weekly expenses. There's enough spaces for 5 weeks, so you can do your variable expenses here, or you can break down your individual transactions into week, however you want to do it. It's really customizable here. There's a place to write in any deposits you make to your savings. There's a place here for your sinking funds, and there's a place here for debt payments. So it's a really all-inclusive single spread budget. I do have it available in my Etsy shop. I love my hybrid budget system. It works out really well for me. I've had so many of you say it's working out really well for you. This is something that I created. And it's just been working great for me. So I highly encourage you to go to my Etsy shop and check it out, try it out, see if it's for you. Having a monthly budget that I stick to versus budgeting things out by paycheck has really helped me to do better overall in spending less and just being more aware of what's going on in my finances. So I do have the hybrid budget available in a few different patterns. I have lots of other budgeting worksheets as well. I encourage you to go and check them out. Use my coupon code. It's YTFriend, all together. I'll put it in the description box below. It'll give you 15% off any purchase you make in my Etsy shop. All of my principles, or all of my worksheets are printable, so there won't be anything physical sent to you. It's all buy and download to your computer and print at home, so you can print it out as many times as you want. This hybrid budget is a $5 printable, and you can use it every month of the year, so it's a really great value, I think. And I have other worksheets as well at a lower price point, so check it out. I would really appreciate it. And now that I've done the sales pitch, let's go ahead and get started with plugging this information in. So every week I like to go in and write out everything that I spent and break it down into my various categories, and then use the expense tracker to help fill in my hybrid budget. So that's what we're going to do today. And I apologize for the noise of the discs on my desk. I usually have a little desk pad here, but the lighting was not cooperating with me and I just got impatient and took it off. So it's a little loud, my apologies, but I think the lighting is better for it. So, it's a trade-off. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and write in the bills that came out this week. The way that I have my hybrid budget set up is I have every single thing budgeted out for the month here in the monthly section. I have an overall budget for each of our bills, an overall budget for our variable categories, and then I use the weekly portion to track how much I spent each week in those variable categories. So things like grocery, eating out, the things that we can really control. Bills are pretty much fixed for the most part, so I don't break those down by week. You definitely could if, for example, you had a $1,200 rent payment and you wanted to break it up into 4 payments so that you could pull a little bit out of each paycheck or whatever. You could do that in the weekly section. Like I said, it's really customizable. There's no wrong way to use this hybrid budget. This is just how I use it. So for bills, I have a few bills that came out, which I have highlighted in blue to make it really easy. So I have DTE that came out at $193. So that is what I budgeted and that is what it costs. So that is good news. I also have Michigan Gas, which came out at $42, which was just what I budgeted. And the last of the bills for the week was my Subaru payment at $400, and that's just what I budgeted there as well. So I just needed to kind of fill those things in, and now we can fill in my spending in my variable category here. I think what I'm actually going to do is pull this hybrid budget right out so you guys don't have to keep hearing the rings slide around, or the discs rather. That's what I love about having all of my worksheets on this disc system, is I can easily pull them off and move them around. I print my printables on 28-pound paper that I just got at Staples, I think is where I got mine. And then I use an arc punch to punch it and put it on those Happy Planner discs, and it works out really great for me. So we're going to start out with grocery, since that's kind of first here on my list. And what I did was I went down all of my list of expenses and highlighted everything, categorized everything out, and put the totals down here, so it's really, really easy. Again, I have a whole video on this if you want to see the process and how I do it, but it works out so well for me. So for groceries, I budgeted $131, but I'm not too worried about it if I go over this budget. My weekly budget is just kind of what I had left from my overall monthly budget, divided out by how many weeks were left in the month, just to give myself a guideline. The overall number I'm worried about, though, is the monthly total. So if I'm over budget for the week, it's not necessarily a bad thing. As long as I'm still under budget for the month, it just sort of gives me a guideline to know how much I have left for the subsequent weeks. So for grocery, I budgeted $131. We spent $181.16, which is obviously over budget, but it's not the end of the world. It just means I will have to spend less over the course of the next couple of weeks, which is fine. We'll talk about what I will have left to work with for week 3, kind of at the end after I go through week 2 here. So for eating out, I budgeted $60. As I mentioned, we lost my sister this week, and so we did a big dinner kind of memorializing her, and there were some other nights of eating out when I didn't have it in me to cook. So we blew past our weekly and our monthly budget this week for eating out. Extenuating circumstances, you know, when I planned out my month, I did not know I was going to lose my sister. So I'm not beating myself up for the fact that I'm going to be over budget in any category. It just is what it is, and I need to make sure I account for it so that I know kind of where I am and what I have to work with moving forward. So for eating out, we budgeted $60. We spent $302.43, which is fine. For household, I budgeted $16. We spent $29.30. For gas, I budgeted $53, and I actually did not have to fill up this week, so we spent nothing. For miscellaneous, I had $31 to spend, and I spent $38.89. And then our spending, I actually pulled out all of our spending money in cash at the start of the week. So this was all as anticipated. $40 for myself, $40 for my husband, $40 for Austin. So really quickly, I'm going to get a total. Obviously, we are going to be above this $391 that I had budgeted for the week for our overall variable expenses. But again, it's not the end of the world. I just need to be aware of it. $651.78. So now I have to go in then and figure out what I have left in each of my categories, and that'll give me kind of a guideline to get me through the rest of the month. So for grocery, for example, I take a look at what I had overall. So I budgeted $750 for groceries for the month. And then I'm just going to subtract out what I've already spent. So in week 1, I spent $356.97. And in week 2, I spent $181.16, which leaves me with a total of $211.87 for the rest of the month. If I want to stick to my monthly budget, this is what I need to spend over the course of the next 2 weeks. So what I like to do, just to give myself a guideline, I have 2 weeks left in the month, week 3 and week 4. So I just divide this by 2 to get a feel for how much I can spend each week if I want to like break it up evenly. Do you know what I'm saying? So it looks like I can spend about $105 in week 3 and in week 4. And if I stick to that, then I'll be under budget for the month. Or, you know, if I spend that full $210 in week 3 and I don't spend anything in week 4, that's still fine. I'll still be under budget. I just like to break it down evenly just to give myself a feel for what I have left. So for grocery, I'm going to budget for week 3, $105. That might be a little tough to stick to. Food prices are so high right now, but it's a guideline, gives me something to strive towards, and you know, it is what it is. We'll go from there. For eating out, obviously, I'm not going to have anything left for eating out if I want to stick to my monthly budget, because my monthly budget for eating out was $200 and we spent $300 in 1 week. So we're already over budget significantly. So I just have to then decide, am I okay with continuing to go over budget and continuing to eat out even though we've already spent that full budget? Or do I want to try to mitigate the loss here and not eat out for the next 2 weeks? I can tell you that we're going to take money and continue to eat out because that's who we are as people. Whether it will be like just blowing the eating out budget by double, or if we'll pull that money from somewhere else, I don't know. But I doubt very seriously that we're not going to eat out for the rest of the month. We'll probably try to not eat out a ton, but it's not realistic for us. We like to eat out once or twice a week. It's just not realistic for me to say, no, we're not going to eat out, especially when we're all still, you know, grieving and everything. So let's see what the damage is so far. So obviously I budgeted $200 for the month. We know we're past that. So I'm just going to add up what we've spent so far. $19.73 in week 1 and $302.43 in week 2. $322.16. So we are already $122.16 over budget. So for eating out, I'm going to write in that we have nothing left. And then we'll just kind of see what the actual total ends up as at the end of the week. Like I said, I'm not in a mindset of trying to stick to this budget at this point. In a mindset of I don't give a shit. I'm going to try to keep it reined in, but I'm just not in a good headspace right now, so we're just going to see what happens. For household, we started out with a budget of $150. I'm going to subtract out the $99.61 we spent in week 1 and the $29.30 we spent in week 2. That leaves us with $21.09 for the rest of the month. If we divide that by 2, we got about $10 a week we can spend. I can say that for the most part, I think we're good on household stuff. We have plenty of toilet paper, paper towels, cleaning products, that sort of thing. So it shouldn't be a problem to stick to this unless something comes up that I'm not thinking of, we'll kind of see again where the rest of the month takes us. For gas, we have plenty of money because we have hardly spent anything. I started out with a budget of $200 for gas, and we've spent $40 so far. I didn't fill up in week 2 or in week 3. So we still have $160. Divide that by 2. We've got $80. For the next couple of weeks, I think we're going to easily come in under budget overall for gas. But again, you never know what's going to happen. So we'll just play it by ear. For miscellaneous, I started out with a budget of $100. I think we're over budget here as well. $4.97 in the first week. $38.89 in the second week. So no, we're not over budget yet. Not too bad. That means we've got $56.14 left. We're actually doing a lot better than I thought. So that gives us $28 a week. And again, these are just guidelines, you guys. Okay, and then lastly, we have our spending money, which I'm going to pull out in cash. And it's always $40 for my husband, $40 for myself, and $20 for my son's allowance. So these are our budgeted amounts for the week. Let's see what the overall total is for variable expenses for the week. $323. So we'll see if I'm able to stick to that. If not, I'm definitely giving myself a lot of grace this month. Considering the circumstances, may mean that we don't pay anything extra to debt in February. It may mean that we end up with accumulated debt in February, and you know, that's okay. It is what it is, extenuating circumstances. So that is it then, I think, for my hybrid budget check-in. Everything is kind of put in place for week 3. We're doing really well. We still have some more bills that are going to come out, but overall, all things considered, it's really not too bad. Other than eating out, we're still under budget for all of our categories, and yeah, I'm okay with that. So all right, let me go ahead and get these pages popped in to my planner, and I will say goodbye to you all. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I appreciate all of your guys' kind words of support that I've been inundated with, just super kind comments, and I appreciate all of your patience, as I know I've been away for a little while and haven't exactly been my happy-go-lucky self. I just appreciate and love you guys so much. I can't even tell you how much I appreciate you. So thank you. Thank you for your support, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.